form of refrigeration. So that's what I want you to know, that fixing air conditioners is no big deal. It's very simple to someone like me that's got a 20-year career. What I'm going to do for you today is we're going to talk about how you can save money and not have to call me for major repairs. I only want to see you twice a year. I want to see you in the spring and I want to see you in the fall. Okay. I want to maintain what you've got, and I basically want to marry the equipment. So I want to take care of it for as long as it can last. And when I tell you the time is up, the time is up, because it's probably an air conditioning system. It's got a freon leak we can't fix, or a compressor that goes out and it's dated its time out. And with the heating system, it's probably lost the heat exchanger, which is a vital part of a gas furnace, or the electric heat systems, the heat strips. I can't find the parts for it. So you've got a brochure.
Get in front of the camera until it.
Okay.
Did it catch it? I don't know.
It's green. It's green.
Get in front of it.
Okay.
So it'll follow you.
All right.
All right, good. Good.
Okay.
I'm just
fantastic.
Pull it back.
So I've got a brochure right here, and y'all can raise your hands if I get over your head. But after doing this for about 5 years, I called my first 5 years from 2006 to 11 the learning years. That was the years I was working for Dwayne, catching all his service calls. And after 5 years, I'm like, this is crazy. The same stuff is happening over and over and over. What can I do to help these people understand what I need to do, or what they need to do first, so they don't have to call me for all these expensive repairs? So I created this brochure, and it talks about the 5 things that take an air conditioner out of service. Airflow is number 1, because without air, there's no conditioning. Everything's about airflow. What we're doing is we're moving the air inside a building in a circle, okay? And outside, you've got equipment that we're using the airflow to reject the heat or the unwanted out of the house. So what's really important is these. This is what I can tell the customer to do. Please change your filters every 90 days. On a digital thermostat, it's got a program that says 2,000 hours. Do the math, 13 weeks, every quarter. It'll tell you to change your filter. For people that have a lot more detailed systems, I like this better. This is a 4-inch. It's got a cabinet that goes in. And I pulled this one out of my system. It's only been in like 2 months. I need to change it. But I had a duct cleaner out there 3 months ago. So it's catching all the remaining stuff that's in the system. These come in 2 different sizes right here, and we can install those. So anybody got any questions about airflow? On the outside unit, the condenser needs to stay clean. It don't need no pollen on it. It don't need no grass on it. It don't need anything that basically, one of my things is environmental. Environmental issues affect air conditioning. So what a condenser is outside is a heat rejection item. So what's happening is you have a condenser that's drawing in 95-degree humid air, but it's spitting it out the top at like 110 degrees. That tells me it's cooling inside about 15 degrees. That's how it works. And with the evaporator coil, that's what I brought in here today. I wanted you all to see what, when you have an HVAC technician, and I encourage everyone to hire someone like myself that understands what's going on. But you have people say, hey, you need a new coil. And you think, what's the coil? This is it. This is it right here. This is an evaporator coil right here. And it's a real simple device. All it is was the engineer's pad. I'm going to set this here so I can. When you lose Freon, generally what has happened is this evaporator coil has started to age itself out. And there's physics that's going on here. We got copper, sheet metal, and aluminum. Guess what, people? metals don't like each other. They corrode. But for 60 years to 70 years, 80 years, the industry has always built them this way. Okay. So right about here, they start rusting out and you start getting microscopic little pinholes start developing. And the freon bleeds out because the freon is shot up here to this little device right here. Basically, a coil has not got any moving parts except this little part right here, or this device that I can mount on called a TXV. A TXV is a cruise control, air conditioning. So what happens is it makes it flash, a liquid flash off, goes into the coil. The engineers figured out how many lengths of runs we need to make that freon go to a cold gas. And then it gets sucked back to the condenser, superheated by the compressor, goes through the condenser, and it does exactly that, turns back into a warm liquid. As I've explained on this, as I teach my guys, this is what we call the refrigeration cycle. And that's what's so great about freon. It's a fuel that can be used over and over and over again, as opposed to natural gas that gets burnt and sent up a vent pipe. Okay? So that's what, when you hear talk like that, you're talking to a guy that's real pro heat pump. Heat pumps make air conditioning in the summer, they make heating in the wintertime. And I generally will match it with a gas furnace like I've done at Troy's house, and you have dual fuel, and I can guarantee the customer you'll never be out of heat. Your heat pump might go off, it might start icing and snowing, cut it off, turn your gas furnace on, or if you choose to run your gas furnace, if it goes out, guess what? Go over your thermostat, move it over to emergency, and make your heat pump come on. So spend a little extra money, buy a heat pump for outside, I put in a few extra controls, you'll never be out of heat. So the other part is I want to show you the electrical side of it. This is the service call end of it. I took this off of a 30-year-old air conditioner. This is a contactor. A contactor, all it is I've got potential, I've got voltage coming up to it. The minute that the thermostat says, hey, it's hot in here, it sends a low voltage signal to these controls, pushes this in, the fan motor and the compressor starts, and it runs till the thermostat says, I'm cold now, turn it off. So this part gets wore out a lot because a lot of times when the air conditioners get dirty, it's a domino effect. The environmental causes the electrical to fail, burn up wires, you name it. So you clean your air conditioner. I was on a call yesterday. I promise you, the unit was 5 years old. It was so filthy outside, you couldn't see the coil, okay? A 5-year-old air conditioner should never lose a capacitor, but they will. When they get so dirty and the condenser is trying to run and it's pulling lots of amps, this is a good capacitor. This is a bad one right there. They swell up on top, they internally rupture.
Hey, Mark,
Right.
in between your service calls, can you hose down that unit?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Because some people have environments that are dirtier than others. Okay. Trees, pollen, bushes. People think air conditioners are ugly. I think they're beautiful. Okay. But people think they're dirty. They're ugly. You know why I say that? They put them behind bushes. They put them behind fences. My guys were out on a call in Collierville. A guy just bought a foreclosure and we're trying to help him get this house back up together. The fence people put the fence 3 inches from the air conditioner. We're going to actually go out there and repipe it and move it over because it's just going to damage that air conditioner. You can't get good at it. Yes, Carlin.
Okay. I used to work for a HVAC distributor. Drove me crazy when I see people cutting grass and blowing into the condenser.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm like, no, don't do that. But can you address, because this has always been an issue, when your coils freeze up?
Sure, absolutely. What's generally happened is one of two things. loss of airflow or loss of refrigerant, one or the other. There are condensers that are out there. The train units that I sell have got low pressure switches built into them. What does that mean? When the pressure gets to a certain level, it shuts the outdoor unit off. So the compressor cannot operate no more. The compressor is just a big dumb bully. All it does is you give it 240 volts, it's going to run till it burns itself up. Okay. And what happens is it will pull this evaporator coil down below on a set of gauges right here. This is my stethoscope. Isn't that what they call it? I go out there and hook it up and I can tell what's going on with the system. Anything that represents 30 degrees, when it gets to that level, if it stays there for an hour or more, first thing, frost starts forming. The next thing, ice starts forming. And it will form inside wherever the furnace or the air handler is, all the way down that line to the outdoor unit on the shell of the compressor. And what happens is the temperature starts going up because there is no more airflow coming through the roof. When you block this coil off, picture this coil as sitting right on top of a gas furnace with a blower motor down below it, blowing through the heat exchanger. When this thing is covered in a sheet of ice, no air comes into the house. And we have had to go out many times, turn the gas heat on to thaw it out, just so that we can recharge the system. Now, leaks come at all different levels. We start out with a process where if it seems to have a decent amount of pressure, I will go ahead and put leak stop in, and then we will charge the system back up again. Okay. If it's seriously low, like I can't tell you how many times in March, it got hot in March this year and it got hot again in April. I can't tell you how many systems I went out to that were sitting on zero when I hooked it up. We did not just charge stuff up like that. We leak check it. So that's our procedure for doing that. Now we're down to like 5 minutes. So I want to talk to you about the worst service call I get. The worst service call I get is, hey, there's water coming through my ceiling. Why is it the worst service call I get? I'm going to tell you why. There's no money in it for me. It does a lot of damage, okay? And it's very preventable. And I'm going to tell you how it's preventable. I have figured out a way to foolproof an air conditioning system. And the way that we do that is we put a float switch in the drain of this coil, right out of this hose, right out of this drain port right here. This is where it's draining all this water out. I put a float switch right there that will stop the system. And I put one down in the pan and tie them together in series, and it will stop the system. Because the goal is you don't want water getting outside the pan or outside of the system to get on the ceiling.
Always get a double deep pan, always.
Yes, right, yes.
I had a claim on a rental property where the floor came up because there was a crack in some air conditioning tube or line.
Okay, could be on a condensate pump. We use pumps where we don't have drain lines to get rid of the water, okay? Could have been on that tubing, which we need to make sure that I've been using a reinforced vinyl tubing covered in insulation. So you learn all the tricks at 20 years that you don't want to go through.
Mark, quick question. Let's say the temperature rises, let's say it's 98 or 100 degrees out there, and people have a tendency, man, it's a little warm in this house, and they start lowering the temperature on the thermostat. And I know there's got to be like about 15 degrees or 20 degrees between outside temperature. Is that still hold true with the new stuff?
Pretty much so. Depends on the building. Okay. Most people like myself, I've noticed that my system's running longer over on Raleigh LaGrange. That house is 75 years old. Have I done anything to the insulation in 14 years? No. Have I replaced the windows in 14 years? No. Have I replaced my door? Yes, I did replace the door. Have I done anything outside of maybe a new roof on it? But I hadn't done anything environmentally conscious. So yes, you could have a system that's AC system that's wearing out. 10 SEER air conditioners were built before 2006, and there's a lot of them still working out there. Just tells you those systems are struggling like can be because they don't have very much coil surface on them. We're putting in a 15 SEER air conditioner for a BNI member Friday. It's a 4-ton unit. I promise you, I saw the box yesterday. It's this tall. So coil space makes all the difference in the world. The newer stuff is more efficient. Yes.
Can you briefly address the zoning on a house and splitting of the tonnage? I have a 5-ton unit that is a 3-ton with a 2-ton,
Right.
2-ton assist.
I love to do that. I love to do that. Our crew is one of the best at doing it. You have to use the 60-40 rule. You can't use the 80-20 rule. You need to have at least 40% of the air going somewhere and 60% of the air going somewhere and having a bypass on it. Because if you do it 80-20, there's no way that it can bypass the 20% of the air. Okay. You're just not going to have a good zone system, but we can do it. And I call it it's a poor man's HVAC system. It's that you can get by with one system instead of two, but it's got to be built right. And my crew knows how to do it. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
A testimonial, many years ago, Troy's son had, I think 2-3 different air conditioner repair people come out and they said, you need a new unit. Mark went out and said, you don't need a new unit. It was a duct work problem. And so,
Right.
I don't know, a miracle happened, he fixed his duct work. He did not have to get a new air conditioner.
Well, our company does new construction. I made us start doing, when I took the license over from Dwayne in 2017, I said, we're going to do new construction. We're going to pull permits. He said, why would you want to do that? There's not a lot of profit in it. I said, I don't care about the profit. It's like football practice. The guys get good and they learn how to do duct work. Everything in our business is about duct work. And I appreciate you calling me at 901-216-7782. We'll bam fam. And I guarantee you, you will save money if you listen to us. Thank you.
Troy, I want you to come up, but I do have a little, just want to remind you guys to sign in because we will be sending you the visitor log. How many people in this room have gotten a referral from Talk Shop in the last 90 days? It works. I know for mine, Troy, I get business when I sit down with you guys or on Zoom or have a phone call with you. Carlin and I talked, we had a bam bam yesterday. Because, and I want to share one more thing. People say, well, you've been with Talk Shop 23 years, and a lot of the people that you bam bam with, can you hold your hand up again to this thing? It's following you. Thank you. All right. So,
I'll just stand behind you.
stand behind me. All right. So I want to give you the secret of how I get so much business, so many different types of business when I am in the same group with BNI, with Talk Shop. When you do a bam bam, you're on a mining expedition. The first thing you do, and we already know this, is ask for how you can help that person and be willing to try to do something to help them. The second one is ask for what you want. And each time you sit down with someone, and it may be like the third time that Silvana and I have had a one-on-one, I'm going to ask for a different market segment that I want. Maybe I did one with her last month and I talked about our first time homebuyer products. But now I'm going to sit down with her and I'm going to talk about my investor products. Same thing with Pat. I may sit down with her and talk about first time homebuyer. I may sit down and talk to her about, hey, I got these new investment products. Or I've got this, that, and the other thing. And that's all I'm going to hone in on. Guess what happens? Everybody in this room, statistically, you are connected and are an influencer over 250 people each. Now, out of 250 people, if I sat down with Luke, somewhere in your 250 people, we're gonna find somebody who is interested in buying a house for the first time, or maybe they're interested in investing. Or maybe it's somebody who needs to redo redo all of their financing on a cash out refinance, but I'm not gonna try to go ask Luke for all of those in one city. Does that make sense? So every time you sit down with somebody and you're mining for that one market segment, it's like sitting down with a different person each time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, so I've had my little thing there, and I've had plenty of business from you guys, so keep it up. Yes,
And
sir.
what do you do after you do your ask? Follow up and follow up.
Thank you, Carlin. Well, Troy, sorry.
Three of us.
Oh, no, I just want to thank, we've got a great guest speaker coming next week. One thing I will say,